Just gonna talk about what we're reading, what we're going, like what's life.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. We are live. Most of you guys watch this later because my time zones and hours and a lot of my friends work in the food industry and certain countries, so it's kind of like you watch it later. Every now and then you always get some live viewers, but we are live. This is my friend Taylor. We work together at Starbucks. He's a fellow Arizona State University online student.
Hallelujah. God bless those refund checks.
So nice. I am so blessed by that. That was the way that I could get back to going to school. Just like that was the real only way.
It's a way a lot of people are only able to go back.
Yeah.
And it's a very new program. It only started like 5 years ago or something like that.
It's a nice.
But now like Taco Bell does it, I think.
Yeah, a lot
like
of
Arby's or someplace does it too. Yeah, but Starbucks was in fact the first.
Yeah.
First.
Like, it is
kind
been
of service place.
really nice. This is my first job with any kind of benefits, any kind of like free food. Like it's been a huge.
Yeah, the benefits are unparalleled for Starbucks.
So it's been a huge blessing. So anyhow, welcome to We're Doing Podcast episode 5. I've only done 4 of these, but it feels like a lot. Like when I sit down and like I watch them back, I was like, I don't even know how much.
At least you don't have to edit them.
That's the best part about life. Is I just get to like sit here and just like word vomit for like almost an hour, and it's like done.
Yeah.
The stuff I edit is like a lot more labor intensive. I like one of my favorite things that I did a trick where I had my buddy hold my phone. So I said something and I had him throw it. And like I ran down, I ended up like going down to the bottom of the apartment complex. And I catch my phone, like, hey.
Oh my god.
Like I threw it to myself, but it's like a terrible, like super cheap trick, but I really enjoyed like making it. I enjoy that.
People enjoy the practical effects though.
Yeah.
You know. The CG is ruining everything.
It's true. It's true. I did this one, and you guys can go check it out. It's one of my videos where I threw myself like a chicken sandwich. And
nice.
It was really fun. It was really fun because we cut it right when I threw it at the door. And it hits the door, and I was like, "Oh no, it's a smush sandwich."
I have a pretty extensive background in film. I used to have my first camera I had was this just big clunky thing that you could fit an entire VHS in. So we would just put the VHS in there, and I would have to do like the old school sort of editing on the camera. So you would like record what you want, quickly hit like the stop record, then like position it to like do it again, because we didn't have there was no like analog editing or anything like that. We didn't have the table or anything, you know, so all the editing had to come from the camera.
Nice.
And we didn't have anything to convert it to digital either. So like the only people who ever saw anything that I ever filmed back then is like I had to have it with me, and they had to have a VHS player. Thankfully I did make the jump to digital at one point, but for all the earlier stuff from like age like 9, 10 up till like 14 or 15, I was just like doing VHS.
I did like terrible animations with like Microsoft Paint.
My buddy used to do stop motion Lego videos, and I was like, I don't quite have the patience.
No, it took like, and mine is like terrible quality, but like it still took a lot of time. I did like, I think it was Evil Squirrels was one of them. They had like Humans versus Aliens, like the most classic.
Beautiful.
It's all badly like rendered. Microsoft Paint like filled the alien with green, like just awful back in the day.
Yeah, I love it. Back like I didn't have any real deal editing software back then too. It was just Windows Movie Maker and then whatever cheap NLE we just had at the time. I think it was Pinnacle is what I used for the longest time. Like before I went to college and actually got a job doing filming and editing. Then it was just that, and you couldn't change like video effects on it. So you couldn't make a video black and white without having this big fat Pinnacle watermark in the middle, making it super hideous. And me like being like 15, I'm like, I'm not gonna pay for the whole thing, and so I would just post videos with a big fat Pinnacle watermark on it.
Like that. Yeah, and my thing is I still use Windows Movie Maker. That's just my primary way to edit them right now. I want to get something more advanced eventually.
Dude, Premiere, man.
Yeah, I've heard some good things.
Premiere is amazing. I love it. Or just Photoshop. You can absolutely edit in Photoshop as well. That's how they used to make all the old Adult Swim animations. Is they would have individual cells for different like body parts, and they would just go into timeline and then they would just like do like little markers, and they would edit it that
I
way.
had a software that did that. I don't know where it went. Like it was an animation software where like you had like your preset like characters, and they had like movements for your arms, and like you could kind of move them across the screen over a certain number of frames, and like I just was very impatient and very lazy.
Of course.
So I did like one where I made somebody walk, and I was like, cool, done. He walked.
There we go.
I have an animator.
I have reached peak animation.
I have reached peak animation. This guy's walking kind of like clunkily.
I really wanted to learn Flash back in the day, but like I had a sneaking suspicion that Flash was going to become obsolete, and I was absolutely correct, because no one uses Flash anymore. It just looked weird too, like all the old Newgrounds Flash games and stuff like that. It's just like so cheap and dirty looking.
Oh yeah,
and I just like Photoshop's definitely where it's at.
Definitely. Yeah, I need to be getting back into some different softwares and stuff. It's been great for what I do. So I just do vlogs pretty much. Vlogs and inspirational stuff. And there was one moment, the best thing about this phone the best investment I made is the camera in it. Like, I'm not going to say anything else, but the rest of it, like, it doesn't matter to me. Like, that's why I bought it. I bought this thing years ago. It still works. It's still a great phone. It's not the most recent one, but it has really good slow motion, really good time lapse. And I did this one video of me like putting on sunglasses in slow motion, and that was my peak cool.
Yeah,
I've never been that cool, and I never will be that cool ever again.
You got to learn how to do the fedora flip, and then
I needed
you
to learn
absolute
that.
peak.
So I was like
coolness.
The coolest I could be at that point in my life. I have not reached that point ever again. Like,
I will say my phone is new. I have the S10, and I was gonna be a good boy and actually purchase it through AT&T because I'm like, I want that warranty and everything.
Definitely. Because I'm
but the thing is that, man, all of the cell phone repair shops they can fix anything for way cheaper. I actually ended up getting it for like $600, and the big kicker that had my old buddy speechless was when I said it has 500 gigs of storage on it, which is absolutely insane. The phone I had before had 16 gigs.
I think mine is a 16 gig.
And the phone I had that had the most storage up until this one was a 64 gig. And even then, like, I love downloading all my like music from Spotify and stuff like that. So I had like thousands of songs downloaded, and it was getting about to be like the 40 gig like used up area. And I mean, it still worked fine. I had everything I needed, but like what I really wanted was a phone that I would basically just use till it died, and would just never have to buy a new phone. So like for the next 5 years, I'm going to be with this phone, and I'm totally content.
This is the 7 Plus, and I've had it for a few years now, and I just was like, it works. It still works.
It's like with my car. My car is pretty old. She's up. I think she's gotten to 180,000 miles now. But man, I love that car. She drives. And I spend a lot of time in the car because I drive a lot.
My Avalon was like that. Whereas 96, it had a lot of miles on it. I got it used, but it just ran really, really well. And I had good service done on it for the brakes every now and again. But other than that, it was just, it ran, it was amazing. And it was good gas mileage. I'm where I needed to go. It was good on the highways, it was good on the back roads and city. I just was like very thankful for it. But it's up in Seattle with my sister right now. So I'm driving the Honda Accord right now. It's not a bad car. I'm looking to get when tax season comes around. I'm looking at a different one now.
You should get the Honda Odyssey, because then you can be a soccer mom.
There you go. I actually used to drive a minivan. And that was my nickname, was Soccer Mom. Because I always brought like treats to people. Like I've made croissants, or I've made cookies, or I feel like I was driving around in a minivan. I just like bringing treats to people. Like, you're our soccer mom.
I think, like, in my experience, Honda Odysseys are either the cleanest cars or they're filled with trash.
There's no middle ground.
There is absolutely no middle ground. There's either every seat is available to sit in and you could eat right off of it, or it's just like there's the front 2 seats and that's there's no one can sit anywhere else.
And if I'm traveling doing stuff, like especially when I was going between Buffalo's and Starbucks a lot, I would have like clothes in there. I would have like shoes, like a box of stuff, like food and things like that, just like snacks to eat.
It's like almost an apocalypse plan for me in my car because
Yeah.
I always have like 2 changes of clothes in
Oh,
there.
yeah.
In my bag, I always have toiletries
Mhm.
with me, shampoo, toothpaste,
Yeah.
toothbrush, like deodorant, stuff like that. And
Yeah.
like,
I got stranded one too many times, and I was just like, I'm gonna have to be ready for whatever
yeah,
happens.
it's almost a paranoia thing at this point where I'm like, all right, something's gonna happen at some point.
At some
Shit's gonna go
point.
down, and I'm gonna need to like spend the night at like a Pilot gas station,
Yeah.
and or something like that. And I'm like, and I want to be prepared. The one I don't have is a blanket. I need to put a blanket in
Yeah.
my car. I have like 8 blankets at home,
Oh yeah.
so
Yeah,
there's
blankets on my
absolutely
bed, blankets
no
in my-
reason why I shouldn't have a blanket in my car. I want to get a little throw pillow to put in there
That'd be
too,
awesome.
just in case.
Yeah, because I got stuck when my brakes locked up on my other car in Tacoma. Like just like I ended up booking a hotel, and I was like, it's so much more cheaper like to like just sleep in your car
Sleep
somewhere.
in the car.
And
to,
so-
like literally just find like a Love's. I don't know if they have Love's up there.
They might. I know what you're talking about though.
Yeah, just like one of those gas stations that has the big, huge like trucker
Yeah.
like spaces where they can go sit. Just find one of those and then
Yeah.
just sleep with the trucker.
I've been thinking about just like doing some traveling like that, just like when I have like an off day.
I absolutely have always wanted to do the cliche jump in the car and then just drive somewhere
Yeah.
with no direction and
Oh,
just
yeah.
see wherever
See what
you
happens.
end up.
Yeah,
I will absolutely try to avoid Indiana at all costs.
for sure.
When me and my lady friend went up to Chicago, we drove back down via 41 because you can take 41 from here all the way up
Yeah.
to like Michigan.
Nice.
So we went 41 all the way down, and we went through 41 directly straight through Indiana, and it was one of the longest drives ever.
Sounds about right.
It was full of absolutely nothing.
Yeah,
I have a lot of wind turbines.
Yeah.
That's what I was actually shocked.
I think
at the
Montana is
most.
similar. We go through Montana a lot because it's kind of up there by Washington.
Yeah,
A lot of our
I
road trips.
love Montana.
It's so pretty.
The one time I went up there is like one of the trips I would never forget for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Specifically because of 2 things. One, the clearest, most beautiful night sky I've ever
Yeah.
seen. Period. Like
Absolutely.
you like being here, you can see a few stars.
Yeah,
Yeah, because we have so much light pollution. But up there, it's like you can almost see like the Milky
yeah, and the
Way.
population is so kind of scattered. Like
Yeah.
you drove for like hours, just like wide open fields.
Yeah, like their largest airport in Helen is like 1 terminal too. So
Yeah.
And then the second thing I remember the most about Montana was the huckleberry ice cream, which
Mhm.
to this day is my favorite ice cream.
Oh, yeah.
I've only had it once, and it was like 10 years ago.
When I was at university the first time, I was in Texas, and I was close to Irving, close to kind of Dallas, and I was doing some psychology testing at University of Texas, or UNC anyways. And I went there, and there's this burger joint, and they've closed down now. But I had one burger there, and I'll be honest, I probably was tired, and I was probably just like exhausted, like a very busy day. It was the best in my like memory, the best burger I've ever had.
Have you had BurgerFi?
I have. They're not bad.
I like BurgerFi a lot.
All I remember is I had this burger and I just kind of sat there. I was like, oh my gosh.
Like melting.
Yeah. It was like, I mean, it had been a long day. I had gotten like officially I was like officially lost. They had called
Yes.
like a lot of different like security, campus security, and like they had called different police departments, and I was like an official missing person. I was fine. Like to be honest with you, I was fine. I was just like walking around trying to find my way back because my phone had died. I was talking to my mom because she was like my first time like away from home properly.
Yeah.
And she was just like, oh, okay, well, just where are you at? I'm at this road and this road, and my phone died right then and right there.
Dude, that's why you keep portable chargers.
Yeah, and now I have like 2 or 3.
I have 2 in my bag, and I never go anywhere without both of them fully charged.
And so it died on me, and my mom was just freaking out. And everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, where are you?" And like she had called like the campus security. They had called, and I eventually made it back like 1 minute before midnight, and all of like the dorms locked at midnight, like sharp. So I like swiped my card. It's 11:59. I busted through the door. And then I got in and I talked to the RA and everything. He said, "Hey, use my phone to call your mom," because she was like worried sick. So I called early. I'm back and everything. But it was an adventure. All I remember, like the main thing I remember from that day was like waiting for the train. It's like I asked the security guard, "When's it going to be here?" It's be about 30 minutes. Like I'm just gonna get something to eat. There's a burger with just tacos.
Get some. Yeah.
And I was like, burgers are more appealing than tacos to me right now. Which if you know me now, I would have gone for tacos. But
No,
back then I was
tacos.
a burger guy, and so I went to the burger joint and I tried it, and I was just like, this is the best experience I've had like all day.
You know what it is? It's because you didn't have that pesky technology.
Exactly,
to distract
technology.
you.
It was dead. I was living my life. I wasn't like on a live stream. I wasn't on my phone.
You're living the truest life you possibly could.
Yeah.
You needed a book with you.
I did. I needed a book. That would have made it even better.
That's why I take books with me everywhere now.
Yeah.
So
I've been
that
I'm thinking
I'll
about
always
taking
have some sort of
this
entertainment.
ancient literature or this. This is also this is from like a little bit later, like
Is
1900s.
that also Shakespeare?
It's just ancient
Or
literature.
just literature.
It has like old,
Oh, yes.
old stuff.
Oh yes.
It's got some Plato,
Yeah,
Virgil.
Sophocles.
So I'm excited. This is just like this book is not as old as the other one. The other one's from 1867. This one is from like 19 something or other. It's in here somewhere.
19.
It might be in the back. It's just in the front. But all I know is this is like also a very old book. Let's say here. Well, we're gonna find
Right,
it.
well,
I'm determined
the
now.
book doesn't actually exist.
The book is not a real book. Oh wait, 1947, copyright. So it's not as old as the other one. It's about 80 years younger.
Yeah, the binding is falling apart.
It is.
So
I think it may have been a little more well loved than this one, but this
has
is.
good old books.
This one is. I think
There's
better, but
actually
it's
a
older.
word for
Yeah, there's a
smelling,
word for it.
smelling books,
Let's
which
look it up.
is an actual problem.
Let's
for
look it
me,
up.
because anytime I pick up a book, I have to smell it. Even if
Word.
I've already smelled it before, I will smell it again.
Word for smelling books.
Biblicor
That might be it.
is the so
Type
it's
it
like
up.
it's like petrichor, which is the smell. Yeah, biblicor is the smell of old books. Petrichor is the smell of wet mud after rain.
What's that?
That distinct ch of art.
There we go. Biblicor.
Biblicor of word nerd.
There we go.
Biblicor. Yeah,
That's
so
the one.
it's a word that describes
The particular smell that belongs to old books.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. I like it. It's a real thing. We were talking before about some words that don't sound like words. My favorite one is absquatulate, which means to leap from one place to another in a hurry.
In a comedic
Yeah,
fashion.
exactly.
I think it says like primarily used in like for comedy.
For comedy. There's some really good ones on this list.
Words that don't sound
real. It's just an actual list.
Shibboleth.
53 words.
Okay, shibboleth is absolutely a real word, and
Yep.
it's used most famously in the show The West Wing.
Yeah.
It's basically a code of sorts that only people within the know would be able to understand. It actually originates from the Bible.
Distinguishes people of one group or one class.
Yeah, the other
in a simpler.
The other great instance of a shibboleth is in the movie Inglourious Bastards, where in the bar he orders 3 drinks like this, being undercover, when everyone in Europe 3 is like this.
Yeah.
So it's a tell. They know instantly he's not European or German because he did the like westernized American 3 instead of European 3.
And then my 3 is this, so I would have
so that's a shibboleth.
Yeah. Oh man.
That's one of my favorite words.
There's a good one. It's a good word for like being outside of time.
Ganglion's a word. I know that.
Yeah.
I know that word exists.
Oh yeah. Let's look at frangible, because frangible is great, because it basically means like fragile.
Okay, yeah.
It's
the adjective. It's the adjective version of fragile, which is already an adjective.
Exactly. It's an adjective for an adjective.
I'm sure there's a word for that as well.
Oh yeah. There's like so many words.
It's
sesquidalien.
Sorry,
no.
that's
Is it a word?
That's an actual word that doesn't exist.
Exactly. Sesquidalien.
Sesquidalien.
That's such a sesquidadalian.
So if anyone knows
what sesquidadalian
is, you can support WordNick.
Exactly. And give us a comment if you know what that word means.
Yeah, if you know what
and if I know my audience, I know that. Boy, oh boy.
Sesquipedalian, apparently.
Oh, wow. Okay, so I wonder if it's a mistype there.
It might be a mistype.
It's a hashtag on Twitter.
Why?
Why? Why is Twitter like? Curious.
Yeah.
It's a fun rabbit hole. I just like to like every now and then just kind of like go over here, just like test like my knowledge. Do I know what like some of these are? Like hornswoggle.
I don't like cock shut. That's a word that makes me uncomfortable. A
Yeah.
large net for catching woodcock by shutting them. That's such a specific,
Yeah.
obsolete, a kind of. It's so specific. Like one of my favorite series of books is the Space Trilogy by
Yeah.
C.S. Lewis, and
That's good.
he uses so many like targeted
Yeah,
specific
specific
adjectives
words.
and that like I look up and I'm like, who would ever think to put this word anywhere?
Yeah.
I'm surprised that you could find any words of these varying origins of very specific meanings and have them make sense in any context
Yeah.
at all.
Absolutely. No, that's huge. That's a big one. Like, I think that part of why I'm so intrigued by this is just trying to kind of grow, in some ways, grow my vocabulary, but also just kind of like, I guess the shock factor of like, say something like, I'm going to go absquatulate, you know, or like sesquipedalian.
People are going to look at you like a maniac.
Most people do. Most people are like, what is that?
Excuse me. What did you just say to me?
Exactly. It sounds like a little bit suggestive. I'm not gonna lie. Like, what is?
They're like, oh,
it sounds.
He's gonna go absquatulate.
Exactly. It's one of those words where, like, if you don't know what it means, it throws you off. Like, kind of just a lot.
Yeah.
It's not a word that like you use because everyone uses that word. That's part of why.
But now everyone's gonna start using
exactly.
the word.
It's gonna catch on.
Yeah.
All my 34 subscribers and fans are gonna be like,
they're gonna know.
Gonna change the world.
Yeah, no, they're like, oh, we're gonna start absquatulating everywhere.
Just all over the town. Oh my goodness, it's good. It's good. Oh man, that's what we get into here. Just talking.
Oh yeah.
Stream of consciousness. Oh, so how you been?
Hanging in there.
You can tell
as you know, classes just started.
Yeah.
Up again. So I'm like, thank God, keeping myself busy with that because like we get like a month long for winter break. And it's excruciating.
For sure. No, I took on that the same day that my tutoring job started. Was like this is the 13th, which is last week. Was when it started.
So my class actually started like a day late too, and I like the longest one day of my life. I was like,
get going.
Let do my thing here.
Oh yeah. No, I'm in history and I'm in math right now, like just basic math.
Yeah.
And this is the one we're going through right now. It's been very interesting. We've basically talked a little bit about Confucianism and Southeast Asia, and it's been really so far that's kind of all I've had a chance to dig into.
A lot of those Eastern religions are more so just guidelines of which to live your life through.
Absolutely.
There are deities, but there it's just a lot of it's specific to the region. And it's sort of like the force where it's just a large energy that connects all beings together, which is interesting.
Definitely.
Having grown up in Southern Baptist churches, you see a lot of laser shows and light shows and fog machines and rap battles and stuff in your church service, which is horrifyingly uncomfortable.
I'm not gonna lie. The services I've been to, where it's just like that's just a lot of just all in your face, and I think it's because in a lot of ways, they're trying to fit a model of society that's very different from like that tradition.
Yeah, which is funny because I prefer more traditional sermons,
for sure,
like Episcopal. It would be if I was to start going back to church again. I would go to an Episcopalian church because they do things very traditional.
For sure.
They have the hymnals. They have the I forgot what it's called. They have the book they read from. And the sermons themselves are like 10 minutes long. But it's mostly just worship. Which I enjoy because music was always my favorite part of church. Even though contemporary Christian music is a soulless, vapid wasteland of nothingness, and it sounds like trash because it is trash.
I can agree.
I have very strong feelings against contemporary Christian music.
I can agree
because I played in my high school church band, and there's just like you know, I enjoyed the performance aspect of it, but the songs, I'm like, man, can we play something other than Hillsong United?
Yeah, it's very popular. And I'm still a churchgoer and still a believer.
Yeah.
And I'm more a fan of the traditional
Yeah,
services as
yeah.
well. We go to a church right now that is, the name of it slips my mind, but it has a very more traditional service. They have the hymnals. They have, it's a really cool experience. And we have an organ, and that's the best part of the service. It's just the actual like real organ.
Oh, it's so nice.
I have like whenever I get to hear an organ, like my inner child, is like jumping, and I'm just like getting like goosebumps, and it sounds so beautiful. It's such a great tradition that I'm very, very fond of, and I love every chance I get to hear. I just take advantage of it.
Yeah, it's just it's different because where I grew up in, like I don't know where we are now. Like there are a lot of churches, but where I grew up in, it was literally like a church on every corner.
And I was born in Nashville, and it's it's a lot there.
Yeah, so like and the church I went to started out pretty small, moved to a new location, and then they just kept building and building and building, and it is absolutely a mega church now. And I moved out of my hometown up here for school just at the point where they were starting to like really become the big mega church thing. And I was very happy that I got out then, because like it just lost it lost so much of what I actually liked about being there. And I always said after my class left, things really started to go downhill. Like
for sure.
Like my sister, she's just a year younger than me. But after I left, and after my entire class like left, and they were like the seniors, like no one was really involved in anything anymore in the church. Like we had like the little Bible studies on Sunday nights. She just stopped going to those completely because you know I had the benefit of having the same person for all 4 years of it, but they literally had like a new person every single year. Which like you didn't get to build that connection.
It's hard to build community. In just that amount of time.
Yeah, and she was just like, "Hey, Mom, I don't really want to go anymore." And Mom was like, "It's fine. You don't have to go anymore." Yeah. And I mean, I definitely became one of the statistics they warn you about. They're like, whenever kids go to college, they find drugs and alcohol, and they're gonna stop going to church. And they become creasters.
I'll be honest with you. I know so many very, very dear friends that are still very close to me that went through that experience. And my thing is, because what I believe is I'm supposed to love people. Jesus said love people, and that's what I'm supposed to do. At the end of the day, I'm not here to save anybody. Jesus did that. I'm just here to love on people. And that is, in a nutshell, like if I had to say like kind of like black and white, that's what I say. I am not here to judge you, to tell you how to live your life.
It's like that's my big problem with evangelicalism is that is the Bible says too very specifically, like, it's your choice to accept him.
Exactly.
So like if it's the individual's choice, why try and push that onto them? They're gonna accept or deny either way.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It just bothers me. Like people really trying to push something
for sure.
People. I mean, no one likes that for anything.
For anything. Like if I was to like be about Starbucks, I'd be like, do you want Starbucks? Because Starbucks is great. It saved my life.
They're like, no, I'm sorry, I don't like coffee.
Oh,
are you sure?
Gosh.
Are you sure? Well, we have other things
exactly,
not just coffee.
No. I just don't like. I don't. And I've got. I guess on the other side of the spectrum, Christians who are in some ways opposed to certain companies, certain organizations because of what Christians deem to be right. Like, oh, I can't support Starbucks because of whatever it does for pride or for things like that. And I work there. As a believing Christian, like I'm not like at the end of the day, for me it's a job. Yeah. And
well, I mean, like I grew up eating Chick-fil-A all the time, and they had the big thing a while back where they kind of came out against the homosexual lifestyle, and I was like, man, I really don't agree with that. make a damn good chicken sandwich though. I'm
Yeah,
probably
so
still gonna eat
from
there.
from a
Yeah.
company standpoint, for me in my my life and my choices, in a lot of ways, it does kind of boil down to that. I think, like I am not here to push anything. I am here just to love on you and to just like say this is where I'm at and this is where you're at, and I'm supposed to love you where you're at. That is a number one.
Yeah, that shouldn't just apply to Christians as well. That should just be in everybody.
It'd be nice if
it would be so nice
if people were just like
if everyone were just good to each other.
Yeah,
that'd be pretty good.
People's is people's.
Yeah, Brenna took a class at ASU that was specifically centered around kindness.
Yeah,
you could take the course. It was like it was just one of those like random out there elective courses that didn't fall under any sort of major or anything like that. I think every school has the Star Wars class.
Oh yeah,
and, so it was one of those, and she took it, and it was. I think she talks about it often as it being like one of her favorite classes she ever took, because I don't believe in being nice. Being nice doesn't mean anything. Being kind, is a completely different.
Oh yeah,
it's
absolutely.
Different.
There's a quote. It's from a show. It's from Doctor Who. For those of you that watch, it's always try to be nice, never fail to be kind. Kindness is where the real meaning is. When you can be nice, awesome.
Yes,
but
anybody
can be nice. Even like someone who wants your money can be nice. Someone who wants to take advantage of you can be nice. But kindness is where like the real kind of meaning in our lives.
Yeah,
and that's huge.
Absolutely.
And those of you that do know, I'm going to show you guys this. Some of you may or may not have seen this already. This is the one, my first t-shirt I ever made. I love this thing because number one, it has all my friends from Buffalo's signed it when I left.
Yes, Give Love.
It's the Give Love one. And this logo is, I'm really proud of this one. This is my hand-drawn logo. And I worked really hard on kind of getting that done. But of course, the back of it has no stress, no worry, no drama, no hurry. And all the love for all of my friends. It's a huge memory and a huge blessing. I was only there for like 4 or 5 months. And the fact that like that much love was received was huge to me.
Was that up in Washington?
Those Buffalo's from here.
Okay.
Up until a couple weeks ago, actually, I guess 3 or 4 weeks now, because it was the end of December when I left.
Oh, you don't work at Buffalo's?
No,
I thought you still work there.
No, I'm tutoring and I'm in school and I'm doing this.
Okay, right school takes a lot.
Yeah.
Of you. People think online classes are like supposed to be easy. Nah, man.
No, that was the first thing they told me.
Nah, man.
Like
you don't realize you don't realize how much of a time crunch it is, especially since we do the sessions system. You don't realize how tight that time is when you have to do an entire class
8 weeks.
Yeah, in 7 weeks. Yeah, it's not a lot of time at all.
We're on week 2 of the 7. And I have to order more books in a couple weeks, so they're ready for me.
Yeah, thankfully I had my complete works of Shakespeare already, so I was like, I have my reading, baby.
I'm so blessed. This thing, there's a store out. It's ever so far away, but it's like books by the pound or whatever, books by weight, and it is such an awesome read. So I got this book. That's where I got the other book. It's awesome. You can look and see what's in there. It's such a cool resource. It's got so many different books. It's amazing.
I have to get that bit.
Okay. It's a good smell.
I will say, I absolutely love my professor for my Shakespeare class. I had him before, and he's one of the best professors I've ever had.
Nice.
But I am upset that we're not going over the sonnets.
Yeah.
Which I was really looking forward to, because that's the entire second half of Shakespeare's legacy is his sonnets.
Oh yeah.
We're
skip that.
We're not doing it. We're just doing the plays, which I can't really complain about.
Oh no, they're great.
I get the opportunity to read a different Shakespeare play every week, so
that's huge.
What I've started doing is I've just been looking up audio plays.
Oh yeah.
And then reading along with it.
Definitely. I every now and again will put on an audiobook or put on like a summary when I'm doing t-shirts or when I'm doing other work, just kind of keep busy, keep things moving. Because I do, as you guys all know, mostly know, I do the Starbucks thing, I do the tutoring thing, I do Starbucks, I'm doing these podcasts, I'm doing t-shirts, I am doing a lot of things. I'm writing this book, I'm writing a cookbook. I'm just trying to be productive.
Oh yeah, you told me about the cookbook.
The book I think is in the bottom drawer. I've got a lot of different pieces. It might be in the bottom drawer there.
Going to pry and find the book.
It's in there with music. There's music and there's writing. Oh yeah, it's all in there.
Okay.
So there's songs that I've written that some of them are for the book, some of them are other bits I've written.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a drawer just full of stuff in there, and I've got my little divider in there and my little like folder that has it. Because I've been writing that for ages now. I'm excited to.
Are you writing a book and the cookbook, or just
Yeah, two books. The book is it's a kind of a fiction. It's called The Legend of Fred. Because
I love that. I absolutely love that.
Because why not?
The Legend of Fred.
Yeah.
Such an ordinary name to go
Exactly.
with such a monumentous like declaration.
Yeah.
This is a legend, of biblical proportions.
Exactly.
Of the hero Fred.
Yeah, just Fred.
I like it. It'd be the same thing as like the Legend of Bob or something.
Yeah, but Bob was my dad's name and Fred was my name as far as like the name we just like randomly throw out there. People were like, "Who's that?" It's Bob. It's my dad.
Yeah.
It's Fred. And that was my nickname. My nickname was Fred like when I was younger. I don't exactly know why.
It's so weird.
Yeah, my name's not Fred. I don't know anybody named Fred. It was just
it's like how
you're Fred.
Well, it's like how some names have nicknames that just make no sense whatsoever. Like Jim for James. I don't know where that came from.
There's no I in James.
Yeah.
There's an M in James.
There isn't
a J in James. There's no I.
Yeah.
That's my favorite song of all time. It's
very Led Zeppelin
from August Rush. It is dueling guitars, and it's a duet traditionally. I was very, very kind of a stickler about it, and I like have to learn this as like a solo piece.
Yeah.
But it's amazing. Listen to it if you haven't listened to the movie. August Rush is one of my favorite films. It is great. It has some really good soundtracks in it. It is one of the reasons that I still play guitar and music to this day. I was like I wanted to play drums at first, and I saw that film and I was like, no, I'm going to play the guitar. I'm going to play other instruments after that,
Yeah.
And that's why I play to this day.
Yeah, I started with piano first for the longest time, and then I moved on to bass, and then I moved on to guitar pretty recently, only within the past like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah. I've been playing music for. Oh, careful! The bass just gonna fall off. I think I've been playing music since I was very, very young. I took lessons since I was 11 or 12.
Yep.
I'm 25 now. It's been like what, 13 years? I feel like.
Yeah, I started piano when I was like 10 or something like that.
Ooh. Ugh.
I didn't like I really need to start getting into the finger style of playing because I do use a pick primarily because I do like playing a lot more big fat chunky sort of stuff. I love my punk and my metal and just hard rock in general, so the pick lends itself well to that kind of thing.
Oh yeah, I started off strumming and then I took classical lessons after a while.
Yeah, so like that's where I'm trying to move on to working on more classical stuff, just because there's just so much variety.
Oh yeah,
and just the finger dexterity as
yeah,
well.
And it translates well to metal, to punk. Like if you
Oh, yeah.
have that dexterity, you can move your fingers really fast. Put an electric guitar on, plug it in,
Yep.
play some of those pieces, play some Bach.
Love it.
And then it sounds, I mean, it's rock in its own right.
People always say that like metal had the deepest roots with classical.
I think that there's some truth to that.
I think there's some truth to that.
It's a big thing
Just with how the solos are
for sure.
created are very much like these, like any of those like sort of violin, arpeggiated little bits they have thrown in,
I used to
especially for like the opera and
viola
stuff.
when I was very, very young. I have not played it in ages.
I
I want to pick up the cello.
I just bought Brenna strings for her viola.
Nice.
And then I bought a shoulder rest for last Christmas, and I still haven't replaced the strings on it yet. So
That's
I need to,
that's a
I need to get to
pricier
that.
instrument too.
It is, yeah. Cello is super expensive. You need a full good strings for a cello for like $90.
Yep.
It's insane. I do love Bach's cello suites.
Mm-hmm.
The one really, really great one is.
Yeah, you can look it up.
My
rule
I gotta look
has
it up.
always
now.
been you can look it up because we have all the information at our fingertips. And we don't have to sit here and wait for like 5-10 minutes to figure it out because we can check it. There's some, it's a blessing and a curse. Like I think in some ways for some people it creates kind of like a bit of like they don't feel like knowing things, but if you're a diligent person, I always say, you know what, look it up.
Yeah, so I think the one I'm thinking of, I believe, is in D minor Suite 2. Oh, hold on. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. It is gut-wrenchingly depressing and sad, and I love it.
That's some music is designed and it's good that way.
One of my favorite pieces on piano ever is Chopin's Prelude or his Suffocation Prelude. And I always end up playing these really sad pieces a lot differently than a lot of other people do. I like adding a lot of dynamics to them to kind of tell a different story. For Suffocation, like it's supposed to be pretty tame and like nice and soft throughout most of it, very pianissimo. And I like building it and building up till the very end. It's like boom, long rest, and then you get that weird like sustained chord to resolve to the E minor, and then have that just be nice and soft.
Oh yeah.
The other one that I play vastly different from everyone else is Moonlight Sonata.
Oh yeah.
Because it bothers me to no end when people play it pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's literally called adagio. You're not supposed to be playing it that fast. That doom 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 dun 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 dun. I'm like, no man, you gotta slow that thing down. I like my view of that song is that you need to make people feel like they are sitting through like the longest funeral procession that they've ever been in. I just love adding all these nice big rises and falls and all in a couple different places. That's one that I very much like to like make it my own. And up until like a few years ago, I didn't understand theory as well as I do now. So like I had lessons with a guy, and he's like, what's a song you want to like really get down? And I'm like, well, I love Moonlight Sonata. He's like, excellent. He's like, we'll do it. I showed him the sheet music, and he's like, oh, excellent. You have like the original in C sharp minor. I'm like, cool, that's great. And then he's like, do you understand any of what that's supposed to mean? I'm like, I absolutely do not. And then he's like, all right, so go home and write down every chord on this first page. I was like, okay.
Yeah, for sure.
So I had to, go, because each measure is basically just one or two chords just done in a little arpeggiated triad. So I had to go home and do that. And it was great because that's a very easy song to kind of figure out what your chords are supposed to be based off of, like positioning. The fact that inversions are a thing, it just adds a whole other layer to like mind numbing theory stuff.
Oh yeah, I had a really good theory instructor when I was in middle school, and that was part of why I took off to piano so easily. Was we just sat down, we did all the theory.
Yeah.
And we did ear training, and it was an online class, but we had to submit like a lot of really like recorded assignments, and it was awesome. But it was one of those things that once I had that down, it was a lot easier to go to like other instruments too.
Yeah. The switch to from piano to guitar was basically nothing.
Yeah, I think once you kind of like have one down, like you know a little bit of theory, it's pretty easy just to go from one to the other.
Yep. I do think that guitar is definitely a bit more visually expressive. I think guitar is harder than piano, honestly, coming from someone who's played piano for ages. Just because piano is very linear.
Yeah.
And there's only one way to play one note.
Yeah.
But for guitar, there's like 3 or 4 different places you can play the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go. I love this thing. I got this. Oh, too much. Can we do it? Can we do it? There we go. This is such a cool little treat that I got myself a couple years back. Are we in?
Yeah, you got your sustain. You got your sustain.
Sustain's hanging out over there. It's tangled up with the. I need to get some cable maker. Like I really genuinely need to get into that.
Dude, zip ties.
Oh yeah,
Zip ties.
zip ties. This is such a treat to have when I originally got it, because I had never had a keyboard before, and I went to the store and I was like, listen, I want to get a keyboard. I said I play primarily by myself, but I also play with my friends. I play almost everything in the key of B, which upsets some of my friends very, very a lot because apparently it's one of their least favorite keys. My friend Brian, he's like, I don't know why you play in B, but I play almost everything that I play in B.
I love B minor. Regular B is fine too, though. I mean, for guitar, B is not.
B is pretty easy on guitar. And I don't know. For some reason, he just doesn't like the key of B major on piano. And I'm just like, well, it's the one that I taught myself in. Because I had one lesson. That was my lesson.
Yeah.
And then
learn how to play Ode to Joy.
And from there, I kind of went and I learned different things. My favorite thing is to play.
Yeah.
that modular with a C sharp major. It's done in the Lord of the Rings. Does that really well? Like that particular bit of that theme.
Yeah, for the Gondor.
Oh my gosh, it's one of my favorite like transitions. Yeah, it's kind of got dust because we just put in the ceiling not too long ago.
Yeah.
And so all like the dust from the sanding, it's just kind of all over the place. And we've been cleaning it and like cleaning it to get it better, but it's slowly and surely like becoming less and less dusty. But that's one of my favorite things is to go from B to D to F sharp to C.
Yeah.
And then A. I've been writing a song with that like different kind of modular stuff. I'm like, really excited to put it out there.
A lot of my stuff I find is
you're welcome.
A lot of minor. I love E minor. It's just nice and easy, very effective. B minor is also a lot of fun. C sharp minor is by far my favorite to play in, just because midnight.
Such a slog in the middle of this. It's a weird layout because I used an actual like piano and I get used to it. My favorite part is just that that A sharp there.
That's most of my memory right there. So sad because I did have the song memorized at one point.
Yeah,
I don't give piano as much love as I should.
Yeah, I had a Bach piece on my guitar memorized, and then I played a little bit earlier, and that's all that I know. Because I was blessed to have 4 different guitar teachers that were all amazing in their own way, But then after I stopped taking lessons, I stopped playing the classical pieces. And it was just like I kind of lost more than I wish that I had. Trying to get back into it. I can't remember if that's how I had it.
That sounds like it should be right. It's a little piece that I was working on.
Yeah, you're welcome to move. You're welcome to move it around, and you're welcome to maneuver it however best suits you.
I know it's not that. I know it's not that. Oh, is it actually? Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah.
Nice. Oh, there we go.
Is it actually an intro? Yeah, I think it's that. Actually. Yeah, I think it's on that E, not that F sharp, but that's another fun one. Then it kind of has this like. I think I tried to then change it to that,
Ooh, I like that. That's nice.
to that major. Because then the idea is that it'll go from that, from like this to this A flat.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's
And the A flat is
nice.
this like little. Let's have it slow. Oh, where's it? Oh. And those are actually just two completely separate songs going from that sort of that big B thing going on there. So like the B minor,
Yeah,
B major, A flat.
I like it. I like it.
Right there. It's this weird like descending thing going on.
My favorite song to play, I can only play the first bit of it, is oh, can you get it? Yeah. That's all I have. That's all I've not taken any practice to it anymore. It's a great way to like end if you're playing something in the key of B, and it's like I want to end it like a nice, fun little thing. Just throw that in there.
Yeah, just throw that little.
If I'm like, oh, I did that. I was playing where I met my very best friend Brent, and I was just playing something in the key of B, and then I went to. And then the whole kitchen, like, we were like at lunchtime, and everyone was like, "Oh,
yes, we love the key of B."
It's weird because I play this song,
yes,
in the key of B, which I think it's in the key of C, but because I play in B, so it's in this one. And yeah, that's a fun one to play.
There's a lot of pop songs written in B flat. apparently, which I had no idea about. Taylor Swift has a couple songs in B flat. I
Yeah.
know Dark Horse by Katy Perry is originally in B flat.
Hey, there's Brent, my best friend. I was just talking about. This is Taylor. Gets to meet digitally. Me and Brent have known each other for, oh, good. It's been 5-6 years now. We met at a piano. We sat down at a piano and we played the piano together, and we've literally been best friends ever since.
Nice.
It sounds very Disney, but it's the truth of it.
Music has that sort of magical effect on
He's a
people.
teacher too, actually.
Okay.
And so he teaches a similar way that I teach. Yeah, he's a good guy. I just have a respect. We still talk on the phone all the time. But we're both very busy, with him teaching, with me teaching, and being in school.
Yeah.
So when we can, it's an absolute like treat to like see him popping up here, because he usually watches them later.
Yeah. I'm glad to meet you. I'm glad to meet you, Brent. I haven't actually met you, but it's good to meet you.
it's a digital introduction, you know. He's a good guy. I'm just honored and blessed to have him just in my corner and just in my support team. A lot of cool people. I am one of those. I don't know. I have a lot of like very good friends. Weirdly enough, like when I was growing up, I didn't have a ton of friends. I became an adult, and it was just kind of like.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
Yeah.
I like a few great friends growing up.
Yeah.
Funny enough, a lot of them I actually am still really good friends with. Thank you.
Yeah. It's good.
I lived with one of them for a while too, and I mean they mostly all live up here around the Kennesaw, Atlanta area. So I mean, meeting up with them is usually pretty ezy.
Oh yeah,
30-minute drive maybe.
Definitely.
So like I always try to make time to meet up with them. My buddy Johnny and I, Monday nights we'll sometimes go down to a bar called Northside Tavern.
Yeah,
because they have their like open blues jam night.
Oh, there you go.
So
definitely,
and he lives within walking distance of the place.
That's
so
awesome.
like I'll just drive down and we'll go listen to music and hang out for a bit.
That's awesome.
So that's like a nice little fun routine that we started up.
Very cool. It's always good, like to get to talk to someone you've known for a while. It's like, it feels really nice.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
When I go up to visit the Northwest, Brent will be one of the people I visit. I'll visit Marcel. Marcel's the guy that gave me this. I have to try to fix this necklace that he gave me. It's an amethyst necklace. It's really, really pretty actually, but you can't really quite see because it's shaking and the focus is out. But it's a beautiful necklace, and he never took it off the whole time I knew him. And when I went to move down here, last day I saw him, he was like, "Hey, this is really, really close to my heart, like physically and spiritually." And I was just like, "Oh, like, I'm not crying. You're crying."
The waterworks.
It was a beautiful. Like, I worked in the same job for 4 years. It was like a really beautiful last day. I've been a customer at Starbucks for the same 4 years. It was in the same building. And when I left, similar to that t-shirt over there, they all signed it. I'll go ahead and show you. I want to show you guys that. It's a really cool treat to see. I'm going to move this back though.
Careful.
Oh yeah, all the stuff. I'm going to have to grab these cable ties. Just run to Walmart when we're done here and grab a few.
That Starbucks right by the Walmart down there, that was my old store.
Nice.
Yeah, that's the store brand.
That's where I met Shen, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was at a hiring event over there.
Oh, I
And I
remember
went
that. I
there.
remember they had that going on.
And
I was still in Alpharetta.
Because I took a picture of the thing. I was like, why not? I should just apply. And then I did. So this one's a 4X, but it has a lot of love.
Oh, yeah.
From the many, many years of being a customer at the Starbucks. And one of my guys that was a security guard at the bank. Yeah. It's from one of my weird friends. But very dear friends. From my dear friend Sam. She is wonderful and lovely, but she is very weird.
As we all are.
As pretty much everybody in our own way. And then of course, oh my goodness, just the in here. It's inside and out.
It's inside out.
My favorite one is from my old boss, my old chef I worked with. I'm going to go ahead and read you guys with this. We'll probably cut the podcast here at that point. But this one says, "Work for a cause, not applause. Live life to express, not impress. Don't strive to make your presence noticed. Just make your absence felt." And that quote, I got chills just reading it right now.
Yeah.
I worked with this guy on and off because he'd had different jobs for 4 years, and he was just a great ally, great resource, and just a really good friend. And we still talk pretty often on here and there because he's the head chef now, so he's a lot busier. I was a kitchen manager for 3 months and it was just all work, and I loved it in its own right, but I just didn't see myself thriving there long term.
when I was up in Ohio for a little internship, I worked at a coffee shop, like a more franchise coffee shop, and I was there for maybe 5 months, something like that. Trying to see if I have the picture, but when I left, they threw a party for me, and I don't know, just I didn't really expect that because I wasn't there for that long.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, here's the picture of them all.
That's
awesome.
awesome.
Us all there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I was just like, and like it was like coworkers and regulars who had gotten to know me, just all came.
Yeah.
And I it blew my mind because I wasn't there for long, but it's like that quote says, make your absence be made. And when I went up to Ohio for Thanksgiving, we went back to that Winans, and I got to reconnect with some of my old regulars.
That's awesome.
Who were there, and I walked in and I just said, well.
What do we have here?
And every single one of them, their faces lit up, and they're like, dude, we missed you, and all this stuff.
So
it was just so nice. I love that.
That's one of the things that I will definitely miss about service industry when I get out of it eventually. It's like there's a lot of connection with people.
There is.
And even just especially at the Starbucks, like talking to people, like I talk to people, like actually talk to them. When I was a sous chef, I talked to a couple of customers here and there.
Yeah.
And there were some regulars that came and signed my shirt when I left. But more so now, where it's like you're talking to people, you're connecting with people, they recognize your name or your voice, and it's awesome just to kind of have that connection. So I'm really gonna miss that when I get out of it. But I'll be teaching, so I'll be in another.
Yeah, then you're forced to connect with people all the time.
All the time. So we're gonna go ahead and end the podcast here because I try to keep about an hour at maximum. But that was awesome.
Yeah.
You are more than welcome to come back another time.
I will
I'm doing
come back
another one next week with hopefully. I'm trying to see if I can get either Vinny or Amber on next week with Buffaloes. I'm trying to see how, because they wanted to both be on. And we're just trying to work through the people I can. And I don't know if Brent's still watching, but when you watch back, we're trying to do him on Facebook, because I know I can do Facebook Live with somebody else. And I don't know how well I can do that here on the YouTubes, because I don't have all of the equipment. But I'm trying to get him on there as well. I'm excited to have him on because that'll be a really good conversation. Yeah. So thank you guys for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Taylor, for jumping on. It was an absolute pleasure. And we will see you all on the flip side. Peace out. That's my thing.